Welcome back to Football Fans TV. I'm just going to discuss with you guys this weekend's fixtures. What an amazing weekend. I hope you all enjoyed them. And I think from my predictions, I got 3 out of 5 correct. I got none of the scores wrong though, but I mean, in terms of who won and all that, I got that correct. So I'm just going to start with the Arsenal and Everton game. I saw exactly what I didn't want to see. I told you guys I didn't want to see Aubameyang scoring. At least he didn't do the backflip, that's all. I don't know if he still does the backflip or not. Apparently his doctor told him to stop doing it because he's likely to injure his hamstring and his back, etc. So he hasn't done it in a while, and thank God for that. But either way, I still had to see him score and have such a good game, even though his goal was offside as well. Mkhitaryan had a hat-trick of assists. Aaron Ramsey scored a hat-trick. I mean, it was just an all-round really good performance from Arsenal, but at the same time, Everton, let's not lie to each other, guys. I know you Arsenal fans watching, they're probably going to say, oh, stop hating, stop this, stop. Come on, guys. Everton were just really poor. That even Sam Allardyce in his post-match interview said, like, I mean, no matter what tactics I put there, I mean, if the boys go out there and give out the performance that they did today, there's really nothing we can do about it. It was just a poor performance from Everton, and they only really looked threatening when Calvert-Lewin came in, and he's the one who scored the one goal. Their only goal when he jumped over Kolasinac and got the ball in. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, a really good result for Arsenal, 5-1, and it's a statement. They've got Tottenham Hotspur up next, and I mean, that's a good way to get into the game, because now someone like Aubameyang has got his goal, Mkhitaryan's got his assists. They're winning, scoring 5 goals while Ozil doesn't have to do anything. He's just a passenger enjoying passing around. So I mean, I'm sure there's a whole lot of confidence in that team going into the Spurs game. So yeah, what a result for Arsenal. I had them down for a 2-1 win. They made it 5-1, so shout out to them. The second game was Man United at home to Huddersfield. And I mean, this game was really about Sanchez, wasn't it? He was not hogging the ball, but every single time they were in the final third, he made sure he got it. Looked around, tried to skip past people, do this, and sometimes I think he holds the ball on for a bit too long. I'm very sure, you can mark my words, I'm sure at some point Man United fans are going to get tired of that. At Arsenal it was alright, because half the time, I mean, he had Giroud up front, he had, like I said, sometimes he wasn't scoring, and so he had that opportunity. He was the creative player in it. But at United, I don't think he has that. Yeah, fair enough, Jose might give him the freedom, but the thing about Sanchez is he loses the ball a bit as well. He keeps it a lot, and sometimes when he's just having a bad day, he loses it a lot as well. So I don't know, in the long run, it might be an issue at United. It might be an issue. And yeah, he had some good chances. He didn't score. He only ended up scoring from a penalty, of which he had missed, and then scored the rebound. But regardless, it was a good performance from Man United. I mean, they dominated for most of it. Huddersfield sat back. There's not much they could have done. And Lukaku got the other goal. Mata got the assist. But yeah, I mean, this is what we expected. I had United to win 3-1. They ended up winning 2-0, not conceding at all. So good result for them as well. Another game was Liverpool and Spurs. I'm still disgusted right now from the officiating. And I think I'm the one Liverpool fan who's brushing aside the first penalty when Harry Kane dived and Lovren missed the ball. I mean, I don't know how many times you can give this guy a second chance. Like we can blame the referee and all that, but if Lovren doesn't miss that clearance, Harry Kane is not in that position to do what he went on to do and dive. So before we blame the ref, we have to know that no, this was Lovren's fault. This was Lovren's fault. And yeah, Harry Kane went on to dive, even though he was offside, etc. And officials might try and give us these rules that no, as soon as Lovren touched it, this and that. When that pass was made to Harry Kane, he was offside, full stop. Even if Lovren goes and swings his foot at it and misses it, you can't say that starts a new phase of play. Therefore, he's onside. No, when the first pass was initiated, he was offside. So put your flag up and stop the game. But anyway, Lovren went on, miskicked the ball, and apparently the officials were saying the continues. But anyway, that penalty was missed, so that shouldn't really be a big deal. My issue is, even with the second penalty, my issue is not really with the linesman. Actually, it kind of is, because I mean, the angle the ref had, he saw it. and you thought, nah, Lamella's making the most of it. Wave to play on. Then the linesman decides to put his flag up and says, and calls the ref over and says, nah, there was contact there, there's contact there. And I mean, at the end of the day, the referee is meant to have the final word. His decision is final. And yeah, he touched him, Van Dijk touched him, but first things first, that wasn't enough contact for a man to go, yeah, okay, go ahead and say, if anyone touches you in the box, you're going to fall down too. Fair enough. But that's what the ref saw. The ref saw that in the first place, that no, there was contact, but that's not enough for a penalty. So why is his mind now being switched by the linesman? Who's calling him over? And the linesman, after giving that penalty, he's celebrating as well. I don't know, it was just a dodgy game, and I guess at the end of the day, Spurs have got 4 points out of 6 from us this season, and to be honest, man, we should have won that game. After that Salah goal, in the 92nd, 3rd minute, we should have just locked that game off and just closed it off and just got on one. But Liverpool Football Club, I was quite disgusted by that. But I guess these things happen, man. I just want to stop thinking about it as well, because it's driving me nuts. And that race for top 4 is only getting worse and worse and worse. Because now Arsenal's catching up and we've got some big games. It's all quite stressful, to be honest. But we'll move on from that. Final score was 2-2. I had Liverpool to win 2-1, which in my mind we did. So I'm just going to add that as if I got that. I got that one right as well. I honestly don't care. People think I'm crazy, but it was 2-1. That was the final score. We won that game. Next game is Burnley Man City. I had City for an easy 2-0 win. And somehow Burnley came back and they made themselves counted. I mean, the whole game, City had chances as well to lock this game off. They had chances in this game, but they just didn't do it. Danilo scored an amazing goal, curling into the top corner. Goodmanson ended up scoring the equaliser. And I had City for a 2-0 win, but obviously ended up 1-1. And it was a very good point for Burnley. A very, very, very good point. Especially considering their run. I don't think they've won in about 7 or 8 games. But when you look at a point that they've taken off City now, I mean, you might not be winless, but I mean, if you've got like 3 draws in 7 and one of the draws against Man City, and they're just hanging up there, in the top half, and fair play to them for that. And the last game was Watford against Chelsea. I told you guys, and some people thought I was crazy. I said this myself in the last video, that the form Chelsea is in and where they're going, it doesn't go. I had Watford to win 1-0. They ended up winning 4-1. At some point it was 1-0, and it looked like a tie game when Hazard scored that crazy goal from about 30 yards. Just boom, hard and low into the bottom corner. I was like, wow, okay, shit. And then from then, I think it was like 10 minutes to go. These guys just said, nah, man, nah. Deulofeu had an amazing game. And as soon as that transfer was confirmed, I went to fantasy and I said, if this guy's at Watford, he's definitely going to be, him and Richarlison are going to be a problem. I put him straight into my fantasy team. The first game, I mean, I only got like 2 points. He was just settling in. This game I ate. This game I got my points, rightfully so. I added Deulofeu to that team. He scored that crazy goal. He got his bonus points. I think I ended up getting 10 points on him. Thinking I should have even made him my captain, I'd have got good 20 points. But yeah, Chelsea end up losing. They've got West Brom next. I was watching one of their fans being interviewed and saying, I don't even know if we're going to beat West Brom next. I don't even know. It was going crazy. And I mean, that's just where it is. That's just where it is with Chelsea right now. And I've got a couple of tweets I'd just like to speak of. I've got one from Ignatius Zeus. He says, got a feeling Chelsea players sabotage a manager once they don't like his philosophy. Shaking my head. And to be honest, you might have a point here, mate. You actually might have a point. To some extent, I feel like he was sabotaged, because the only player who seemed to want to play for him was now Willian. Everyone else just sat back and said, you know what, whatever happens, we're not even interested. If we lose, we draw, no one cares. And they're just playing really dismally. And Jose, obviously, it was kind of clear that Jose had lost the dressing room. But with Conte, like now, I think it's the other way around. I feel like Conte is the one who's just given up on the team. Like, first things first, the guy's been asking for certain signings to be made throughout the summer. They didn't happen. He asked for certain signings to be done during the January window. They didn't happen. Instead, they gave him his own players. The board gave him whoever they wanted to sign. Your Drinkwaters, your Ross Barkleys, and I said this as well. Like, some guys were happy saying, nah, Conte actually wants Barkley, you know that. Nah, Conte. I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? There's someone called Marquisio that this guy Conte put Marquisio on the map when he was at Juve, and that guy's not getting any game time now under Allegri. That guy's on the bench. He's not really playing and all that. So you're telling me with Marquisio available at Juve, he wanted to get Barkley ahead of the Barkley who was injured at the time that they bought him and I said, bro, trust me, this guy would have gone Marquisio if these transfers were down to him. And it's obvious he's not in charge of transfers at Chelsea, unlike when Jose was there. Jose had full control. For some odd reason, Abramovich was willing to give Jose, and Jose said, no, I'm not going to be your manager unless I have full control over the signings. And rightfully so, he did. But for some reason, Conte hasn't been given that same privilege. And obviously now he's just pissed off about it. He doesn't care anymore. Conte just doesn't care. You can tell from even this weekend, someone brought it up. They lost to Watford yesterday. He just didn't care. Like, you know, Conte usually is animated on the touchline, running up and down, shouting at people. Yesterday they lost. His hands were in his pocket like this. He just didn't seem interested. And I don't know. Apparently, rumors were he would have been sacked this morning. I doubt they're going to sack him, but I mean, if anything, it's going to change at Chelsea. I mean, they have to make that manager happy. This is a manager who just came in, made his own system, and brought a league title to Chelsea in his first season, just like that. This is a very good manager, but for some odd reason, maybe he doesn't have the funds. But Roman needs to adjust, however his relationship is currently is with Conte, because that man could take the places. So yeah, I don't think they're trying to sabotage him. I think it's just something's just going on in the back, and it's just not working at the moment. I've got another tweet from Mr. Nzeu. He's saying Chelsea only won the league last time because that's all they were focused on, which is kind of true. I actually agree with that to some extent because they didn't have as many fixtures. I mean, coming up next week, for example, like I think the next 7 fixtures, they've got a game every 3-4 days, and one of their fixtures is against Barcelona. So now imagine if they didn't have those fixtures. Instead of that period when they play, let's say Sunday and then play Wednesday and then play Sunday again and then play Wednesday. Within 2 weeks, instead of having 4 games, they would have had 2. And I feel like, yeah, it really did. It's probably one of the reasons as well. Besides Conte just being an amazing manager, the fact that they didn't have European football to worry about. Yeah, I guess that's true. But even with it, I mean, if like I'm saying, if they'd gone and given Conte, if they let him make the decisions in the transfer market, he would have brought in some good players and made the squad bigger and stronger. That even when people like, if anyone is injured, they have, even if they're playing 4 games in 2 weeks, they have the squad to rotate in that. They have the squad. Because yesterday, I mean, he started with Kante and Bakayoko. Those are in midfield. Those are 2 midfield players who were just good at winning the ball back. They're 2 good midfielders off the ball. On the ball, neither of them can really be creative or create anything or do anything in the final third or going forward. And for me, from the start, he ended up getting a red card, but from the start, I was asking, so many question marks with that decision. Like, why does this man still decide to play with this formation and with those 2 specific players in the middle? To me, it makes no sense. Yeah, and I've got one more tweet from W Gunner 19. He says, "Is Dikari the new Vieira? Really good player." And you know what? You might be right. I might be reaching as well, but maybe because the way I've always known Dikari was a good player since last season. I mean, he's put in some really good. Whenever I've really sat down and watched Watford, he's put in some really good performances in that midfield. He's so composed. He's big, tall, strong, and when he's on the ball in that midfield, he doesn't panic. He is so composed. He makes all the right choices. He switches it when he has to, when it's the right time to switch it. He holds on to it when it's the right time. He shields it off players when it's the right time. And he's so controlling in that midfield. And yesterday, I mean, he had Kante and Bakayoko in his pocket. And before Bakayoko went off, he had both of them in his pocket, him and Capoue. And then when Bakayoko went off, Fabregas came on, same thing, he had him in his pocket. Those guys couldn't do anything in that midfield. Anything. And shout out to Xavi Gracia, the Watford manager, because he got his tactics absolutely right yesterday as well. And Yeah, I mean, maybe the difference is that Decore is playing for Watford and Vieira was at a record-breaking Arsenal, etc. But put Decore in a bigger team. I mean, put Decore in today's Arsenal team now, because Arsenal going backwards. I mean, if they're attacking, they're a very good team. But put him in that midfield, where put him next to Jack, for example, in that midfield where they've just kicked El Neni and who's this guy that ended up going to Villa, Coquelin. Just put him in that defensive midfield, and you never know, that could really be your new Vieira, because he's that gifted and he will actually control the midfield and protect the back four, the back three, which Arsenal, they don't really have anyone doing that. But yeah, those are the tweets. Once again, the Twitter handle is going to be in the description. So if you've got any tweets that you'd like to share and you'd like me to speak about in the next video, just put them, just mention me on the Twitter and we can discuss those tweets. You guys let me know what you think. I'll be coming soon with the preview for this weekend's fixtures. We've got some big games as well. The North London derby is coming up. You don't want to miss that. And yeah, just get involved. Once again, I'll leave the handle inside and in the description. Hope you guys enjoyed today's show. And yeah, cheers guys.